need to read this workbook because the secret of the great is divulged in this workbook. So, in the first module, the test is coming. Teach. You are going to read this and assimilate the information into your practice. I respect you as licensed professionals, and so I don't want to read it to you verbatim. I want you to read it, and I also want you to use your strategies sheet to write down some useful information that you found in this mod, because the first secret is simply to teach to the standards like a moth to a flame. This is how I did it. When you look at this sheet that's in your classroom document files, there is some data that shows some of my work as a teacher. And in reading the baseline, the test scores for the entire class coming in was 36% in September at the start of school and the start of the testing season. And by the end of the testing season in April, we had achieved incremental growth to 74%. So by using this first secret, I was able to move my entire class from 36% to 74% in reading, and also in math from 42% to 80%. Okay, it does say 36%, but that's a typo. It's 42%. If you look at the data, you'll see 42% to 80% using this first secret. So, all right, so what I did was I actually, every month we tested the kids formally, and we took the data. The school was a particular school that used a particular software which was already standard aligned. So I'm sure your school has its own standardized informal testing that you can use, or you have your own method to formally assess your students. But what I did was, as you can see in the workbook, you see some pictures of some little bins lined around the classroom. So these are some of the standard-based learning kits that I actually created for my second grade classroom. And I talk about this in your workbook in the caption underneath the picture. So this is the magic of this particular secret. You have to take the standards and laminate them and have fun, because we are teachers, and so we enjoy the bright colors. It's the same thing that kids enjoy, are the things that teachers love. So I made a bin with an activity for each one of the second grade standards, because when I achieved this particular set of data, I was teaching second grade. So I took all of the standards that they needed to know and turned it into an activity. Where did I get the activities? I got the activities from teacherspaidteachers.com. You can find every activity, every subject, every genre, and you can reasonably price, because these are licensed teachers that are creating these activities. So you go on, you print them out, you make it last, you get yourself a personal laminator, and you laminate it so that you have it for years to come. And so here in this particular bin, for example, the nonfiction Common Core task cards, kids don't traditionally score high in nonfiction because it's fact-based. So these task cards will help your student to navigate through a piece of nonfiction writing. So while they are reading, they have these cards on the table next to them, and they can either read with a peer, or they can either read to themselves, or they can read to you, and there's dialogue that will help them stick directly to what it is that they need to know in that standard. And so when you test the kids and you see that they did well, you can move them forward to the next standard that you need to teach. The ones that didn't do well, you hang them back in a small group and you put them together at the table with one of the buckets that they need to work on in order to master that particular standard. Why this secret works, even when you're faced with incredible odds. So this particular class where we together achieved this, I'm still very proud of this work, this amazing set of data. This class was the last second grade class to be staffed with a teacher, because at the end of the previous year, or perhaps the beginning of the new year, the other 4 or 5 second grade teachers decided they wanted to push some kids out of their class who were troublemakers. Okay, so they made a makeshift class with all of the problem kids. And at the last minute, they decided to hire another teacher, which would have been me. Okay? So, but it was a setup from the beginning because these were all the severe and profound second grade kids that the other teachers didn't want to deal with because they wanted to be able to teach and not have severe behavioral issues in their classroom. So they created this classroom of problem kids and then hired, and finding a school was not really that easy, even with all my credentials. So anyway, that's a problem, and it's part of the reason why we in Nevada are number 47 and vacillate between number 47 and 50 because we don't take care of the pillars. Okay, so I get here to this classroom of undesirables, and but if you look at all of the other teachers that have been redacted, look at the data. My class started with the lowest baseline because I'm telling you, it was where they pushed the kids that they didn't want to deal with. And so, but we ended up every single month using this secret. Every single month, we would have data meetings, and my class was always first. We always had the highest data set in the entire second grade. If we were analyzing reading, my class came in first. If we were analyzing math, my class came in first every single month. And the model of this particular school was to assess often, which was a great model, by the way. Assess often. Okay, you must assess often in order to be able to teach to the standards like a moth to a flame. You have got to assess often. So that attitude that teachers have where I want to be creative, I don't want to teach to the test. When you're in the ocean, swim. Teach to the standards because the test is made up of the standards. So this set of data is proof that when you use this secret, when you are dealing with underlying elements, such as severe and profound behavioral issues, I was still able to pull in first with my class every month when we analyze the data by sticking to this secret and not diverting. Teach to the standards like a moth to the flame.
Love it.
To recap the important parts in this mod, when we teach to the standards like a moth to a flame, that means we have access to the standards. And so I believe in your workbook there are some links to take you to the Common Core, which is national, but your state or even your country might use a different set of standards. But whatever the standard expectation is, it's connected to assessment. So teach to the standards like a moth to a flame, and these results can be yours. My class consistently scored higher than all the other second grade classes from the beginning until the end of the testing season. And so these amazing scores are just proof that everything that I did that year with my class was data driven. So looking at the data helps you to teach not to the test, but teach to the standards. And so even with behavioral issues, if you apply this secret, so I am available to you to personalize this particular pedagogical skill. If you click on the mentorship program, Prep and Plan with the Best of the Rest, you get my personal attention for 1 hour. And I can help you map out this concept so that on the ground, it makes sense in your classroom.